Hey, folks, Sonny Tackett with the Sonny Tackett Show, and we are in Nashville, Tennessee, with my longtime friend Dwayne Strobel and the beautiful Miss Crystal Shawanda. And I'm so lucky to be here to interview Crystal tonight and talking. And it's so nice to see you.
Thank you so much,
So
Sonny.
nice. Love you, Dwayne.
I love you too, brother.
Man, you all have been so busy. I can't catch you. You're on the road all the time.
Yeah, we stay pretty busy. We love our job. We're blessed. We get to do what we love to do, so we embrace it.
Well, I love it that little Zsa Zsa gets to go. You know, that's. And when I was young, I was feeling music when I was a tiny person, and it was like I always wanted to play. So to be able to go on the road at her age, man, I mean, wow.
It's
I
amazing.
mean, what memories she's going to have? What memories she's going to have that we are not able to even have ourselves?
She begs to go to sound check. It's so funny. We'll load into a place and she'll know that that's where I'm going, and she'll say, "Stage, Daddy, stage." I said, "Okay," and I'll just take her over there and she'll run around a few times, check her mama's mic, plunk on my guitar strings, go hit the drums a time or two, look at the sound man, say thank you. And she's a
I
real.
love that.
We were at we just did a big thing for the Plowman's Association in Ontario, and there's like, I don't know, somewhere like 3,000 people were there, and we were at our sound check, and the sound man gave her a live microphone, and she said, "Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, you're all my best friends. I'll see you later." And then she handed the mic back to
Oh,
her.
wow, really?
She's so cute.
Well, it won't be long before you'll just be sending
She's
her
our
to do sound
retirement
checks.
plan. That's our retirement plan. Zsa Zsa.
Yeah, you'll be sending her to do sound checks, and you guys may stay back.
We'll be stage parents. She'll definitely be a momager, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Crystal, I know that you got started in country music. Then you
Yes.
came here to actually start in country music in Nashville. But that has been a hard road for a lot of different people. You can talk to Dwayne, and he'll tell you about the so-called hillbillies from Kentucky that's had such time. But we made the country music highway a legend. And I know that you've had a difficult time being an indigenous lady, Ojibwe from Manitoulin Island, Canada, trying to fit into the country genre in Nashville. Now, how did that work out for you?
Well, for me, it's just people. It's new. There's never been an indigenous artist in the country music scene who's actually been open about it. I'm very open and honest about my roots, where I'm from. I don't try to hide it. I don't try to play it down. When I show up, you know exactly who I am. So, and for some people, it was, for some people, they didn't quite know how to market me in
Yes.
the country music scene, because sometimes the demographic is, there's not a lot of color in the country music scene. So, because of that, sometimes it's just like anything. People are afraid to be the first to do something. So, it was tricky for me, but at the same time, I feel like I opened a lot of doors and for the next generation, and that's what it's all about for me. I don't really go through life trying to fulfill my own dreams. Everything I do is about affects the next 7 generations of Indigenous youth, and so I feel like I did that. I did what I set out to do.
Yes, and I also noticed that you and Dwayne mentor a lot of indigenous artists that are trying to start, such as Shannon Ray, whom I just dearly love, and I plan on doing an interview with soon. She's already contacted me. And so you're giving it back, you see, by doing that. But you went on past country music, because I know when I first heard the first stuff that you did, I said, wow, what an incredible voice. But, and I know you can do this country stuff so well, but you even do the blues stuff even better.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you.
And, and crossing over into that field, how much problem did you have doing that?
It's basically like starting all over again, because I'm having to relearn a whole nother genre.
So
You
leaving
know,
one behind and going to another.
yeah, it's like
So
you
you didn't
have,
like add to it. You just left it behind and went to another.
yeah, we have to just start from scratch, you know, because it's completely different in the country music world. You set out a single and you try to work that single and try to get it on the radio, and then then you try another single. Whereas in the blues world, you kind of send out the whole album.
Yeah, I love that.
And the blues world, the DJs, the blues societies, everybody's listening to the whole album as a collection, and I like that. It's kind of but it's like I said, it's just relearning everything, and even right down to how we write our songs. We have to
Yeah.
consider the audience. We can't approach it exactly the way we would write a country music song. So everything like that, and then even just getting to know my audience. That's what we've been doing for the past few years, is just going out and playing blues festivals, blues venues, and trying music out and seeing what works, what doesn't, and just getting to know the people and letting them get to know me. And it's been exciting. If anything, it's kind of relit, my whole passion for the music industry and chasing dreams, because it's like starting all over again. It's like it's given me a new hunger, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, you're doing very well on that because, I've listened to everything. And I listen to everything you guys do, of course. I mean, I watch the videos and I see the things you're playing here and at different venues and so forth. And I always watch those videos. And the voice is definitely a blues, soulful voice.
Oh, thank you.
And that there's no doubt about that. And I'm just absolutely thrilled that you saw enough in the songs that you've recorded of mine recently that you actually did them in that mode towards a soulful blues type. And the way I look at, like, Would You Know Love? Michael Marlowe, of course, did it country. You did it. To me, it sounds like an Aretha Franklin Stax version of it, sort of.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
and I love that. I just love that feel.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about the whole music. Like, as much people try to find separation with the different genres, it all derives from the same place. Country came from blues, and so even when people write country, those little elements are still there. That R&B, the blues, that soul, they still come out. So, and for me, ever since I was a little girl, like even back when I was only knew country music, I would. My parents, they were big fans of Hank Williams. That was the one that played in our house the most. So I would take all his songs and give like a bluesy twist to them. And for me, it just always felt natural to do that. Like I didn't feel like I was coming up with it. I felt like it was just there.
Yeah, well, when you sing it, you can tell somebody that is singing and it's just natural, or you can tell them when it's forced.
Mm-hmm.
And with you, it's very, very natural. Of course, you were actually very successful in country. You had a great start in country music there. And, I see that very well in the old stuff that I've listened to, but I also see that I like this new direction better myself. But of course, as Dwayne knows, I'm a bluesaholic myself, so
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were really blessed. I had a top 15 single in America, and my album debuted at number 16 on the Billboard Country Music chart. So it was really good. And then up in Canada, we had 5 hit singles all together, and I was nominated, got different awards, and it was amazing. I was very blessed, and I was blessed enough to where I could say, you know what, this has been great, but I feel like my heart is leading me somewhere else. And because we were showing up at country music festivals, and we were playing Aretha Franklin and B.B. King and Janis Joplin, and then these poor radio stations, they were so kind enough to play my song and tell the record label, okay, she can come play our festival. Then we showed up, and we were bringing a blues show, and they were like, wait a minute, is this the You Can Let Go With girl? And there was a lot of confusion, and finally I had to step back and say, you know what, you're right. I don't think I'm a country music singer. And so it's really just letting the bird out of the cage. And once I started singing blues, it just opened up this other part of my voice, and I just felt like freedom for me.
That's what I felt when I heard it too. Also, you got a blues husband. I mean,
Yeah.
that helps a little bit.
You know, to shed more light on this thing with country music versus the blues, we all know it's the same thing.
It's exactly the same.
You know, and musicians know that the aesthetic is a little different in certain areas. I mean, you put a little bit of this on it, and it's a country song, you a little steel guitar, whatever. The thing about Crystal and country music was Joe Galante was the most powerful man in Nashville, the head of RCA Records. He walked into the back of Tootsie's Orchid Lounge and heard Crystal doing Rock Me Baby, which is a B.B. King song,
Yeah.
okay, and a couple of others standards, and that's what they signed Crystal to a deal. Well, you know as well as I do, you've dealt with labels and their departments. By the time the A&R staff and the promotion staff and everybody got done with it, they were trying to turn Crystal into like this soccer mom character.
Oh, yeah.
And then they gave her this song, You Can Let Go. And even the radio programmers at first were like, I don't know, man, the daddy dies in the end of the song, and this is such as bringing everybody down. But they played it, and it went up the charts, and it did really well for her. And I think that to ever scoff at that, or ever say that would be so hypocritical. Well, we just did, we're better than country music. No, it's not better than country music. It's not really moving out beyond it. Country music has a strong arm, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to carry an artist through their art. And I think with Crystal, it's just she's got her own sound. It's kind of it's bluesy. It's a little country. It's a little rock and roll.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and there's sometimes she sings. I hear Big Mama Thornton and Coco Taylor, but there's sometimes she sings. I hear Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah.
And Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
And those type of sounds. And so it's like, and even she could like sing the phone book and we'd all
of course,
jump around it, but. Just putting some light on that. I just thought I would interrupt you guys at this.
You're not interrupting, man. You're part
to say
of
that
this.
when the label head at RCA, the most powerful label in the world, forget about it, the biggest label in the world, walked in and saw Crystal playing, they immediately jumped on and offered her a deal. They gave us a huge check. We were like living in a small apartment, and all of a sudden we've got a major label deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, we'll do whatever the boss says, and sometimes you get so caught up in that it's like you kind of lose your own little thing. I think, but with Crystal, she always had the drive to just do what she does. No matter how much somebody tries to put her in a box, she always ends up being Crystal. And
Well, that's exactly what happened to me when I first came to Nashville. Of course, it was because one person would say, "Well, no, you're country." Another person, "Oh, that's rock and roll. Oh, that's blues." And the fact of the matter is, I was doing them all, and that's the problem. That they wanted to box you in, and a lot of that is past now. It's gone to the point where a lot of people can do a lot of different things. And one thing that has done your first, I think, big blues album, Voodoo Woman, actually did it not stay in the charts longer than any blues album in Canadian history?
77 weeks. That's a long time.
For her first outing as a blues artist.
Well, it was actually, it wasn't that easy. We did an album called The Whole World's Got the Blues.
I remember that.
And then we did Fish Out of Water, which was our, what'd you call it? You're confusing out, what was it? You said it was
it's kind of confused.
It has an identity crisis.
It's an identity crisis, because it's like I was saying goodbye to, I was still trying to please my country music fans, but I was still trying to head towards the blues world. So it's blues, but there's also some roots and some soul on there, and so it's it's a little mixture. But it took 2 albums. It wasn't to Voodoo Woman was the 3rd blues album before we finally started getting through the doors. And the only reason it got through the doors is because I ended up signing with True North Records, and they were the ones who took my album and re-released it on a national level, and they were the ones who got the album out there and got it heard and by the right people, and it's thanks to them that now I'm starting to make a little noise in the blues world finally.
Yeah, with Dwayne, and speaking to Dwayne on the phone, he called that album the album that will never die, because it just went up the chart and then back down the chart,
Yeah,
and up
it
the chart,
did. It
back
was-
down the chart.
it was really good that way because, like I said, we had already released it when True North Records heard the album, and then that's how I got signed to the deal, and then they re-released it. So and that's unheard of most times. Once an album is out there, nobody really wants to re-release anything because they feel like it's already gotten all the life that you're going to get out of it. But they believed
They
in it
milked
enough.
that cow, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they
They
did.
really did.
They milked
and
that cow.
and it's been really exciting. It's given us inspiration and motivation for the upcoming album.
You're basically the Fish Out of Water album ended up being the crossover album, leading you on into something else. Taking you out of
The
one
Whole
thing
World's
to
Got the
another.
Blues was
Yeah,
the
was
crossover,
actually did.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that one was a full-fledged blues album.
Well, I was so honored to have you. You don't know the entire story of Laid Back, but it has a huge story, and I was so honored that finally. I said from day one. I wrote it in 1974, slightly after Greg Allman released his Laid Back album, and I said. I want to capture the feel of that album with one song, and I tried to do that, and I thought I did it, and I could always hear it. I could always hear it, but it seemed like nobody else. I was here in Nashville, and I actually did a demo here in Nashville on it. I have that still, and my publisher, record label people, all kinds of people, even Roy Day. When Roy Day produced my first album, I wanted to put that on there. No, I don't. Don't fit the rest of the stuff. So I wanted that honky tonk country because Roy Day was Gary Stewart's producer, and he was trying to produce me like he produced Gary Stewart. And I love Gary. We're close. We were like that, but we're different people. So
Totally different artists.
Totally different. Totally different. And but I love Gary. Don't get me wrong.
Well, he wrote a lot of songs for Gary, but the delivery was a lot different. But I noticed Roy did that with your production. I mean, I was just a fly on the wall back then, but
But it was easy to tell that it was produced just exactly like it,
Yeah.
down to using the same musicians,
same,
same studios, same rooms, same David Briggs,
Yeah,
keyboards leader, on keyboards. So I mean, you get that, and that's why that album I didn't go any farther with that. I stopped that there. But with Laid Back, going back to Laid Back, I told everybody, 74, 75, 76. Now this song became part of my on-stage repertoire because I had so many friends that actually loved this song. They loved it, okay? I put it out on Outlaws Lament myself, which I've done pretty well on that by myself. That's no problem. Then I recorded it on Michael Allman. I've always said, this is a hit song. I know it is, and for the right person. And Michael did it. Didn't go anywhere with that either. And then you came along and took it to number one. And I'll tell you, it's one thing when somebody that you really don't have anything to do with or not associated with in any way records one of your songs, and it's a great hit. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody like Dwayne and I, who have had the memories that we two have together, couldn't fit in this house. The things that we've done, we can't tell about, okay? But the wonderful things that we've done that we can, and most of that was music. To have him involved in producing that and it becoming a number one song is like right here.
that
That's what
song.
got me.
When I played that for her, she goes, "Who is that? What is that?" So that's Sonny Tackett's a dear friend, my dear friend. Oh yeah, Sonny, yeah. Where did that song? Sonny wrote that song. She starts singing it. It's just like I just love this song, and it just fell out of her. And I'll
It's
say
soulful.
something. You said I produced that song, but this is what happened. Crystal gets in the studio, and she tells everybody I'm the producer, but she dictates what happens around her voice.
Yeah.
In her body language.
Yeah.
So that's why we use some of the same players over and over again because they know to watch her and feel it. So
Yeah.
she, even down to the little solos and stuff that happens. I mean, it's just almost like she's whistling this stuff to you.
The
But-
best musicians always know to watch my feet.
They watch what Crystal does. They watch how
Yeah.
she moves. You watch how her feet, how she's dancing or moving, and even the way when I played that solo. It first started out playing trying to do a solo like an Allman Brothers thing, but then when I was going, been playing it with the slide. Crystal goes, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, it's, you know," she goes, "Do that and then double it." And I'm like, "Okay." And it's like, yeah. And then I'm over there. We're at the studio. We're over at this a good friend of our studio working on a song, and there's a banjo sitting there, and the track is going, and me being the idiot that I am, I'm picking up the banjo and just playing along. And Crystal goes, "You should
Put that on
put
the
that
track.
on there." I said, "Crystal, this is a blues album. They'll write, the blues police will write us a ticket real fast over this."
The blues.
But we did it anyway, and it was like a lot of folks loved it. Everybody
I
loved
loved
it.
it.
Everybody loved the
I
song.
loved it. I thought it sounded great, and it was very unexpected. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, you know, and it was one of those things where I don't think that song's through yet either. I think sooner or later we're gonna have a greatest hits, or we're gonna have an album that she's gonna look at the label head and go, "Okay, Mister, I want to put Laid Back on this album. I don't want to record it again. Let's just put it on this new album."
Yeah.
You know, and we've done that. Jimi Hendrix used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Revisit it, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. So.
Yeah, but that was. I've had a lot of songs recorded by other people. Gary Stewart's recorded the songs, and other people like that. They all made me happy, but this one made me happy in a different way. It's very much so piece of my heart, because finally, not only did I prove out what I'd always said, this is the #1 song, but also the fact that you, my brother, brought it to life. And I do understand that it's a co-production thing with you guys. I do understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's very much so.
D-Wayne's taught me everything I know.
Well,
when
I
it
can
comes
see
to-
that even in my
when it
short time
comes
in
to
the studio.
when it comes to working in the studio, though, D-Wayne's taught me everything I know. So I couldn't possibly go in there and do it without him. It's you know, we kind of pick up where the other leaves off, and you know, I don't know all the technical terms, and so sometimes when I'm trying to give direction, D-Wayne will have to translate what I'm trying to say
We finished
in a
each
way
You
that
make a great team, in other words.
in a way that
We finish
musicians
each other's
the
sandwiches.
musicians will actually understand what I'm trying to do.
What we're going for.
Yeah.
It's like Jim will come in the studio. Dave Rowe does all our records with us. And he played with Johnny Cash, recorded with everybody from CeeLo Green. I mean, just, and he'll look right at Crystal. He will look past me to look at Crystal. And I'll be in there trying to lead the session. I'll say, "This is our brother." He'll be looking at Crystal. I say, "Dave, what are you doing?" He goes, "I'm trying to make sure we got the right track." I'm looking at the artist.
But I'm looking at the boss,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. I don't know. Okay.
That's great. Right now, you got a new record getting ready to be released. I'm not sure, of course, when that will happen. That's you guys got to come up with all that. You don't know if you're finished with it or not yet, but
Who knows?
how are you doing on that thing?
We're doing great. We're
'Cause
getting
I know
close
Dwayne's
to
been doing some mixing.
we're getting close to being done. You know, it's we were, you know, we're like I said, we signed with True North Records, so we've been blessed with the opportunity to raise the bar. You know, like they're like, hey, we're not in a rush. We want this album to be the best that it could possibly be. You know, and the team is listening to the songs every week. They have a song meeting, and we, you know, we adjust a few things in the mix and send it back in, and so we're just kind of at that phase right now. But we're excited about it. The album, you know, it's a blues album. There's some, you know, kind of like R&B soul songs on there, and you know, I think the theme through the whole album is love. You know, it's falling in love and fighting for love, loving yourself enough to walk away from a bad situation, and giving love another chance again. So that's kind of the common theme through it all. And then it's kind of, I know that sounds weird because it's like, how can a blues album be about love? But
Oh, yeah,
you know,
very much
love always makes the best blues stories.
So, yeah, so it's about love, good and bad. It's, you
Yeah.
know, there's songs out there, hey, love, that is uplifting and positive. Then we've got stuff on there like Midnight Blues where you kick him out, and he's like, you know, now you got the Midnight Blues, you know. So
Yeah,
it's
for
kinda-
sure. So
it's about love, good and bad. Yeah.
So we're just working on it, just mixing on it, and you know, when the team says it's ready, then it's ready. I'm glad we don't have to be the decision makers anymore. We can, you know, we trust our team that they're gonna do it at the right time.
I know exactly the feeling. I didn't like on Outlaws Lament. I produced that in Muscle Shoals with a stellar cast of musicians, great studio, the whole bit. I still didn't like. I thought other people could make my decisions better
No.
than me.
No.
You know, but it came out great. It came out. I'm very happy with it. But still, yet, you know, I can see very well that going in the studio with Dwayne, he's going to make decisions that I would not make. Because I mean, I'm coming from a different point of view. I'd rather sing and play and let him make the decisions.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel more comfortable that way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we released music and a few albums through our own label for a few years, and that was fun and it was great. But now it's nice, you know, with raising our little girl, we need to focus more on that and get back to being
Let the
artists and
professionals
songwriters
do it.
again.
We had this was so funny. Crystal had just left RCA, and it was before we signed with Universal on Crystal's last deal, and she had this song that she wrote called "Beautiful Day," and it's a beautiful song. Beautiful Day. You can find it on YouTube. Beautiful Day. Great video. But we worked this song on our own. And I would laugh at Crystal because she would call these major radio stations and they all knew her because she was coming off a deal with RCA in a top 10, a top 5, top 3, #1 song. She was coming off of that success. So she's calling these radio stations and going, "Hi, this is Crystal Shawanda from New Sun Records calling, representing our artist Crystal Shawanda and her new single." And she was calling them and they thought it was cute. But here's the thing. We got that daggone song up in the top 20 on our own, which is impossible. And might also add, it's the first time in history that a song on a label owned by a Native American female ever cracked the Billboard top 20
That's true.
anyway. So that's another little feather in her hat because it was
telling you.
like, you know, it's the first time that ever happened. But it laid some groundwork, and now after that it got tough. You know, it
But that's why
started
we
getting
did it though. Why we did the label is like, you know, for me again, like I said, it's all about opening new doors for future generations and just showing that it could be done. You know, it's like I was inspired by Motown, you know, the way it was started, the way they ran it themselves and, you know, produced it themselves and all that sort of thing and marketed it themselves. So that was the inspiration to starting our record label and pushing the music for a while. I just wanted to show that it could be done. It's not, I didn't want to be like necessarily, I want to run a label for the rest of my life. That's my lifelong career dream.
Yeah.
No, it's not at all. I just wanted to show that it could be done, to show future generations of Indigenous people, that male or female, that if you wanted to, you can work in the music industry, whether it's on the front of on the stage or behind the scenes in the business, running the company or tracking the song or producing the song. You know, these are really important things to me. These are the things that lead my decision making every day when I decide which way my career is going to go. I don't necessarily chase the popularity or the fame. You know, I'm trying to prove something so that it can make it easier for future generations to say, hey, I can do that because she did it. And that's what it's all about for me.
Well, I look at this label that you guys have, especially with Shannon Ray and other people on it and so forth, that you're really giving back to where you came from. You're helping those people where you came from get the same start that you tried to get. And it's such a difficult thing in this world to do that. You and I both know it, Dwayne. We've been down that road.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to do this and actually mentor people like Shannon Ray or other people and bring them into the spotlight. She just had a #2 song.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
gosh, I mean, I was tickled death for her. I sent her all kinds of messages on Facebook. Hey, I love it. Thank you.
It was amazing because, you know, when she first came to me, she was, you know, very, you know, very meek and timid and humble. And, you know, she said, I'm a songwriter and I just want to demo some songs that I wrote. And that's
Yeah.
all it was. She didn't even think of herself as an artist. And then we recorded the songs and I couldn't understand why she didn't want to try to release them as an artist. And so I'm the one who kind of pushed her to do that, to believe in herself enough to just give it a try, because, you know, it's not about reaching #1. You don't have to be #1. It's just about going after your dreams, doing what you've always wanted to do, and giving yourself enough chance just to experience it. Because if you give yourself a chance and go for a dream, like I said, even if you don't get to #1, you're going to experience all this cool stuff along the way, and that's what life's all about.
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way too. It's not about number one. It's about living that life.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we've all dreamed that dream of living that life, and it's a lot different on the road than people think it is. Much, much different. But if you embrace it and you do like you guys are doing it, I mean, you're living it and you're making your home life and your road life and your recording life, all three work together. And
Yeah.
that is very difficult and almost impossible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of families have fallen apart because they couldn't take that pressure of doing that.
It's really true.
And mostly because they didn't do what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I'm after quality of life.
Yeah.
And every decision that we've made, sometimes people look at the way I've led my career and they think, "Oh, why did she do that?" Or, "Well, I guess she must have screwed that up." But for me, I don't know, it was several years ago when I was sitting there one day and all of a sudden I realized, if I don't change the direction of my life, years from now, I'm going to look back and my only memories are going to be of the tour bus, the green room, the airport, and the hotel room, and the stage with the bright lights in my face. And as much as I try to see all those people out there, I can't always see them all. And as much as I love the friends that I've made in the meet and greets at my shows, when I go home to my hotel room and I go home to my home off the road, it's me and D-Wayne, and it's what is the life that we built. And so that's when I started making changes in my life. I started going home to see my parents more, to see my nieces and nephews, my brothers, and making time and saying, no, this is important to me, and saying, you know what, I want to have a baby. and it was kind of late in the game, and I didn't care. It's I could feel it in myself that's what I needed in my life.
I think the whole world has embraced Jaja. Okay, because at first, you think, well, I'm taking my child with me on the road. Are they going to give me a rough time over this? But instead, the public oh, that is so cool. That is so cool.
I kind of made it that way. I kind of pushed her out, right from the day she was born.
Yeah.
Like some of my
3 months after she was born, you guys were on the road. I remember it very well.
Yeah, but even the first day, we were. She went with us to the Juno Awards a month after she was born. She was. She didn't come to the actual award show, but she was there that whole week. All the events we did, she was, backstage with my dad or with my parents in the hotel room. And we've always talked about her from the beginning. I didn't hide her because I told D-Wayne, if we're gonna make this work, she's gonna have to be out there with us, and so people can understand that this is a package deal.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that's the coolest thing I've seen in music in a long time.
Even her agent now, it's like, even looking at the contracts, it kind of makes me kind of giggle a little bit, because it's right there in black and white, right between the section of what time we play and how much we get paid. Note, Crystal travels with a toddler, and the essence of this contract depends on the provisions made to accommodate this child.
There you go.
And you know what? The minute we would ever, no, it's not ever happened to us, thank God, but the minute we ever did show up and Jaja was a problem, we would just grab their check and leave.
Yeah.
Because that's in our contract.
But we just, we
I
family
never
is
looked
the
at it
most
as a
important
problem.
thing.
I always looked at it, okay, well, what do people think about, because you hear all this stuff about life on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so actually, you guys are pulling it off beautifully. I mean, you guys are extraordinary, I think. And
We're
and
human
doing it.
beings. We're human beings, and we have our little moments, me and Crystal. But the biggest thing is that I have to remember that she's actually the breadwinner. She's actually the boss. That means she's the artist.
No, I'm going to stop him right there, because we're a team. It all works because we're a team.
Well,
And everything we do together, whether it's the music, whether we're performing on stage, producing, or at home, in our home life, it's 50-50. He does some of it, I do some of it, and it all works.
Well, she's very modest about that, but she takes care of that baby all day long, every day.
yes.
And I'm just a bonehead, It's like I just,
You are not.
The thing I noticed, and I'll bring it out here, and I'll show you, this is what I noticed, okay? He gives you the most respect because he says, and I've told many people this, I said, with Crystal and Dwayne, to Dwayne, Crystal is the star.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you where you can see it happen at. Watch the video for Laid Back. And when you are in focus in the camera, you bend your head down and nobody sees your face. I notice these things.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, and I told him at the moment that we saw the video, I said, he's giving her all the credit right now. All of it. And you did it so nonchalantly, like, so casually, nobody actually picked up on it, but I picked up on it. And I saw it happen like 3 times in that video. I watched that. And when the focus came on, even when it came on you playing guitar, you didn't see a full thing. You saw the guitar and the slide in the hand. And that's what you saw.
Yeah.
And Dwayne was giving it everything he had, but he was giving you all the credit by doing it that way. And that's the way I looked at it, saw it, and it's so beautiful. I just thought that was a very beautiful part of that video that not many people actually caught up on.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room for any ego in our camp because it's like, I don't need to practice and show off and do this and, try to be, it's like, what me and her do together is just absolutely the most wonderful job you can have. And we'll play shows where the organizer will come and go, Crystal, I laughed, I cried, I danced. You took us, you and your husband, you took us on a roller coaster with the music and the show, and it's just, you took it to so many different places, and I think that mutual respect, it goes a long way, because she is like, if it comes time for me to play guitar and she wants me to show off, she'll let me know.
Yeah.
She'll let me know.
Yeah.
But most of the time, folks want to hear a singer sing.
Yeah.
They want to hear Crystal tell her story. They, there's the way she dresses and dances and acts and talks and entertains. That's what she does, and that's the very core of what we do. And then what I do is try to be an amazing support system for that. So the stronger support system
you are definitely
has,
that, Dwayne.
the stronger support system she has, and the stronger she's going to be. And
Now this, for all the folks out there, this is for all the folks out there that don't know, but this TV show will be on 3 stations on 2 different cable networks in Kentucky and Virginia, in that area. And the reason I'm bringing that up right now is a lot of people are aware of Crystal that aren't aware of you right there from that section of the country. Right in Kentucky, right where I'm from, Dwayne Strobel is right from the country music highway, right in the middle of Kentucky, and walks the road of a star. That's how it is, brother. And the thing about it is we try this, since this show is going out in Kentucky and West Virginia and stuff. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. That Dwayne is from Paintsville, Kentucky.
There's something in the water in Kentucky. There's a lot of great,
I'm telling you, man.
musicians and singers and songwriters and
Well, when we did this agreement to do the show with Rick Hall, the manager of the LCG TV in Kentucky, I did an interview there, and that interview went so well, had so many views, did so well that they called me and offered me my own television show. So I have the ability to do anything I want, and the very first thing that came up was, can you get an interview with Crystal? And of course, I mean, and Rick and I had already talked about you being from Kentucky and the whole shot. So he thought that it would be an excellent connection to Kentucky, because it's going to be shown in Kentucky. But however, it's went beyond that. Now it's also going to be on YouTube / The Sonny Tackett Show, or you can find it at sonnytackett.com.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be worldwide. It's not going to just be on that platform up there. It's going to be on LCG TV, channels 57, 58, 97, 57, 98, and 99, on TVS cable, and Intermountain Cable, right there in Pikeville, Kentucky, where you played so many nights.
Lots of people watch those.
So many nights. I mean, right there, Dwayne has tons of fans from that one area right there in Kentucky. That this is going to be all over those stations, all three of them, on those two cable networks. And those two cable networks have a combined subscriber list of about 650,000 people. Okay, anybody that subscribes to the basic cable plan gets all three channels. So you're going to be heard by you peeps back in Kentucky
That's
now.
awesome, man.
And heard from you in a long time. Now they get to, and but especially with bringing it in with Crystal, man. I mean, how could this be any better? You know, bringing it on home.
Awesome. That's great. Awesome.
So you guys are due back out on the road shortly.
We go to Whitehorse, Yukon Territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way the hell
Northwest
up.
Territories.
Northwest
Way up in-
Territories,
yeah.
Way up above British Columbia, up close to Alaska. We're up there for the Blue Feather Festival on November the 9th and 10th. Then we get to fly home and we go straight back to Pensacola for Frank Brown International.
I was going to
Songwriters
mention
Thing.
that. I
At
know
the
you're going to that.
Florida,
Jimmy, say if you happen to see him while you're down there, I just did an interview a couple days ago with Jimmy Payne. Well, yesterday, as a
cool.
matter of fact, with Jimmy Payne.
Yeah.
And he wrote wonderful songs like Woman, Woman by Gary Puckett and Union Gap, you know,
Yeah.
15 times platinum.
Yeah, huge.
So huge record. I mean, a bunch of other stuff. My Eyes Can Only See As Far As You, you know, a bunch of stuff. Anyway, he's going to be there. So if you see him down there, give him a big hello and
I
shout
saw
out.
him did a show with Gary Talley last year, and he was watching. He had been there right before watching a couple of Sonny Throckmorton and some of those guys. I know Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since Joe Son just passed away.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So that was that little crew right there. But
Yeah, a lot of the old timers, like you said earlier tonight, not only in that world, but in the music world. I mean,
Yeah.
we've lost so many, but we're gaining great people too. It is if they just carry on the right traditions and do them in the right way. You know?
folks got to quit picking on these kids and going, well, these kids don't know how to do that. I mean, that's the same thing our parents said about us and our music. You
I'm
know?
telling you.
We got to leave them alone. We got to encourage them and help them, all we
It's all
can.
about change and evolution.
Yeah, change and evolution. Some of them are too cool for us to even help them. They don't need our help.
Yeah.
They're too cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Take them to somebody that can do more for them than you can. That's what I do. I try to do that. I found two ladies up in, I actually did an interview with them for the TV show called The Southern Daughters, and they had almost given up on their songwriting. And the thing about it is they've written such cool songs. I said, wow. And the harmonies, it's like just listening to two angels sing. I mean, these harmonies are much different because they're like, to me, it sounds a little bit Celtic based or a little bit, but it is actually, we get that in Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, right in that square corner right there, because so many people moved there during the Great Depression and the potato famine and all that from Ireland and everything, and they brought banjo, mandolin, all that. That's where bluegrass music originated and came from and all that. And then we built on top of all that and stuff. And these two girls sort of sound like a combination of all that put together. That's just so cool. It's just really, really cool. And I told them they went in and did an album, and it's like we were talking about before. A lot of times, less is more. If you just kind of let it breathe a little bit. And what happened with them is, to me, the vocals got buried. They need to do an album that's really, really acoustic, oriented, and got some incredible harmonies. You're gonna love them. You're gonna like these girls, I'm sure.
Cool. Awesome.
But you're back out on the road shortly. Now the Frank Brown thing is early November.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you guys are back in the middle of November in Nashville working.
We're back.
Well, after Frank Brown Songwriters Festival, we just get ready and head out on our Christmas tour.
Oh yeah.
That's right. We
and
come
then-
home for 2 weeks and then we're back out.
Yeah, we were
I
Christmas
told
tour,
them I was
and
talking to
then,
David Norris today about it. I said, heck, it's so tough to get with them because of the fact that they're home 2 days,
Yeah,
and then 2 days they're home, they're in the studio,
yeah.
and then they're back out on the road for 2 weeks, and God only knows where. You know,
Yeah,
it could be
so
Canada,
we
or it might
stay
be
going,
Florida.
Yeah, because we
You know, it could
you know,
be the,
January we have a bunch of shows in Florida, and then and then our pretty much our spring tour starts. So we never really stop. We're always out there. We like I said earlier, we're blessed that we get to do what we love to do, and we embrace it, and we just
well,
keep
Dwayne
on
is sitting
going.
there with the guitar. Have you guys got anything new that you could lay on me? I'll put you to the spot, D. Love. Do they love?
Yeah, we could do that.
Speaking of David Norris,
Speaking of David Norris,
which I love David
I
Norris.
love him too, man. He's a trip, man.
That's the word of God. He's something else, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
so this is a song that we wrote with David, and this song is just about giving love a chance again. This is called Hey Love. Hey love, I've been missing you. It's been rough, this lonely heart's been blue. But hey, listen, though I've been distant, I'm sorry, I thought we were through. Hey love, thanks for coming back around. Straight up, I've been on but down and now, patiently waiting, anticipating where I wanna come around. I'm glad you're home and helping me move on through the sunshine that you bring. You're a long lost friend, won't run from you again. Hey love, it's a beautiful thing. Hey love, is it too much to ask? I've got a crush, could you have my back? My heart is racing, my knees are shaking, and the butterflies remind me of what we have. I'm glad you're home, helping me move on through the sunshine that you bring. You're a long lost friend, won't run from you again. Hey love, it's a beautiful thing. Oh, I'm glad you're home and helping me move on through the sunshine that you bring. You're a long lost friend, won't run from you again. Hey love, it's a beautiful thing. 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 Ooh. Oh, you're such a beautiful thing. Ooh. You're such a beautiful thing.
Hey, love. The beautiful Miss Crystal Shawanda and Dwayne Strobel. I mean, how much better can it get?
The wonderful Sunny Tackett.
Thank you so much.
Thank
God
you
bless
so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
But you know what? I was invited to come down and attend one session with you guys when you were recording before, and I did. And I'll tell you, I managed to hear, I think, 4 songs in that session. And the 2 songs, I've just got in on the last little bit of Midnight Blues, and I caught you singing Would You Know Love, and I got to see both of David's songs. That the one he wrote with you, Hey Love, I think,
Yeah.
was that one, and the other one, Church House
Church House
Blues.
Blues.
And it was kind of funny because we became fans of each other's writing immediately. He said, "Man, did you write Midnight? Oh, I love that song. Did you write that? Yeah, I wrote that one, man." And then they come up and play Church House Blues, and I said, "Did you write that one?" Yeah, I wrote that one. That was one of mine, man. So like instantly, people saying, "Come out in the car, man. I gotta let you listen to these songs." You know. So
Count it off.
So 2 weeks later, guess where he's at? He's on my farm up in East Tennessee, and we're riding. And we got 4 in 4 days.
That's
So,
awesome.
you know,
yeah, David's a
I'm
wonderful.
very, very.
David will write a song. He's a tunesmith.
Yeah, he is very
We'll
much
write
so.
a song with you.
But it was so
I
funny.
love
You,
David.
you have to hear this, man. He says, "Now I get up early. I'm going to get up early. I get up early.
Yeah,
Nashville,
right,
5,
whatever.
6 o'clock, man. I'll be up early. You know, so at 5. True story. Ask her. Ask him. It's a true story. I was out on the porch sitting at the table because we had a real cool little place where you sit up and ride there. You know, and things. You know, it's just a real cool place early in the morning to ride. It's just atmosphere and everything.
Mhm.
And so I'm sitting out there at 5, 6 o'clock, and about 10 o'clock, no David. And so it was every day like that. It was every day at 10
Now I get
o'clock,
up early.
about 10 o'clock, here come David, and we would write one. And he would say, well, let's write another one. I said, no, man, let's kind of just chill out. You're down on the farm where we can just chill out now and get you some rest. Go get you some rest. He'd end up going back to bed for 2 or 3 hours, but we got one a day. And what I would do is I'd work on them after that. I'd get it to where I could sing it decently and so forth. And so I was really, really pleased with the 4 songs that we did. But on top of that, I was sitting there bored at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Have another cup of coffee. I'm sitting.
This guy told me he gets up early.
The guy told me he gets up early. Okay, 9 o'clock. So I'm sitting there, and I've got the title of the song already, and I've got the melody. Heck with it. I will go ahead and write it myself. I did. So I wrote 3 by myself, and we wrote 4 in the 5 days that he was there. we had a ball too. You know, he got to enjoy himself.
That's
I
great.
love
That's awesome.
That's a beautiful song. It's a great
Thank
song.
you so much.
And
Thank you.
I
We're
can't
so
wait to hear the
excited.
final version because I know it's got. Has it got the McCrary sisters on it?
On that one, yes, it does.
Yes, on that one,
Yeah.
and hopefully on Midnight Blues, I can
Yes.
really hear them on that one.
Yeah,
And,
for sure. We're excited. So so the new album will be out soon, and people can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and to keep up with shows and everything that we got going on.
That's it.
and they get you at Crystal Shawanda on Facebook for sure.
Yep.
But also crystalshawanda.com. Is that super?
.co.
Yeah, .co. Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
but
That's right.
it's-
I always get that mixed up.
But I love it for people to check out my social media sites like
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, because that's the stuff that I look after personally, and it's just it's a lot more interactive.
A lot of artists don't keep up with that themselves. They let other people do it for them. The fact that you're doing it yourself and taking the time to actually
it's a lot more
answer
it's a
your
lot more
people.
interactive, and whereas a website it just has dates on there and that's pretty much it.
Well, I've seen you come in
Pictures.
there and like answer something that Linda's asked you or something somebody else is asking you.
Yeah, absolutely.
that's very, very
I
cool.
try my best to keep up. Sometimes I get behind, and I have thousands of messages in my inbox, so I don't check my messages a lot.
Yeah.
But I try to
I'm
keep
better
up
about
with
that, too.
the posts that are the actual posts. I feel like that's where I interact with the fans. So
Well, I'd like to invite you the next time you get the opportunity and get the free time. Definitely, you guys got to come up to the farm and stay.
definitely can't wait.
And just get away. We don't even have to work if you don't want
Yes.
to. We can just kick back and enjoy
Yes,
the
for
countryside.
sure.
But also, we got to get together and do some real riding too. And
Definitely.
but definitely want to invite you if you get the opportunity to actually come back to Jenkins, Kentucky, to the TV station and
Oh
actually
yeah,
do a show there.
we'd love to do that.
And also, I'm getting some information from you before I leave of who to contact because being from Kentucky with Dwayne,
We're laughing.
that's got a story.
This is
Sorry.
Jaja's pick.
That's Jaws.
We made her a pick
That's,
so she could get and this guitar is full of toys. Okay, it's full of toys. Those toys. That's Peppa Pig.
And so Dwayne made this guitar because she kept every time she would take the little pick, she would lose it in there. So Dwayne made her a special guitar.
There's like
pick.
30 picks in it, and she's lost it in there, but she could go.
I see her, man, online hitting drums and helping you guys get things
She's
going and stuff.
downstairs
and
right
she's
now.
got all-
I can hear her demanding my presence right now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta go, don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so
Crystal,
much,
I
Sonny.
thank you so much for
Thank
allowing me
you.
to come into your
Thank you for letting us
home and
record
your
your
studio.
music, record your
Oh
songs.
my God! It
They've been
thrilled me.
they've been such
It
a
thrilled me when
blessing. I'm always very honored, and you know, when I get to record other people's songs, but especially yours, because I've heard so many stories, you know, from Dwayne, and you mean so much to Dwayne, you know, and you've been such a dear friend to him, and I'm so happy that I connected to these songs genuinely, honestly, not just because they were his friends, but because they meant something to me in my
Yeah.
own way. So thank you so much,
I
and
love
thank
the
you
fact
for
that you did that, but I was
sharing our
really,
music.
really so overwhelmed with Laid Back just because if
Thank
it had
you.
never,
And thank you
if
for
it had
intro-
never done anything.
Thank you for introducing me to your audience and for squeezing us
Absolutely.
in. We appreciate
Absolutely, we want the audience that the TV station is going to definitely to hear all this because of the fact that you know. Our homeboy Dwayne disappeared from Kentucky and showed back up in Nashville. So now
Yes,
we're letting
for
everybody know
sure.
what's going on.
it. But thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. This is
Bye.
Brad. We'll see y'all later. Love every one of you. This is Sonny Tackett Show. We'll be back next time.